has been such a colourful year for cinema. I have certainly enjoyed a plethora of films in cinemas and streaming. Lots of really amazing movies, so profound and captivating. Moreover, the sheer variety of female characters in various genres of films makes it that much more exciting. Now, more than ever, social media is so involved in promoting and discussing films and celebrities. It is so easy to be persuaded that one film is better than another or one actress is better than another one, merely by the power of other people's opinions and marketing. Difference of opinion is inevitable when discussing movies, and in this video I will discuss my own, who I think should be the Best Actress Oscar winner. I think it is important to consider multiple factors when deciding and discussing who is the strongest contender to win an Oscar. We should consider the movie as a whole. Is it really good? Also consider the performance on its own by the actress. Is it strong enough? And also whether the actress, in comparison to the other nominees, deserves the win the most. We need to weigh all of these options. Movies aren't meant to be moral. Art is not the place for moralizing. Otherwise, we would have no painting, no books, no nothing. It's where we explore all of the thoughts and acts we could never confess to in normal life. Isabelle Huppert, a world-renowned French actress, said that. Movies can trigger us, make us question our morals, provoke our beliefs. They are a space without moral limits. It is an expression of what society was, is, or is going to be. An anti-hero, a twist in the plot, an unhappy ending. All of these make a movie so interesting to watch, expecting the unexpected. Criticism is good. Isn't it so boring when everyone feels the same way about a movie? All that praise, all those positive affirmations and PR. If a movie doesn't result in difference of opinion from the audience, then it must be doing something wrong. So much pandering these days. Let's celebrate movies that can transform people's minds, feelings, and even society. It can open our eyes on how far people can go, the bad things they can do, mistakes they can commit, miracles that can happen, hopefully for the better. Movies are a playground for actors to abandon their own inhibitions, transform and experiment. I have got a deep reverence for actresses who step out of their comfort zone and play daring characters, troubled ones, continuing to push the envelope on female archetypes and nuanced performance. I think this year's Best Actress nominees are a mixed bag of different characters representing women from all walks of life, history, and experience. Lily Gladstone is my favorite Best Actress nominee. I hope she wins. She is certainly a newcomer to the Hollywood scene, an underdog compared to the highly seasoned and already celebrated actresses in her category. I would say Sandra Hüller is a newcomer to the Hollywood scene too. But I think Lily deserves the Oscar the most. Her performance as Molly Kyle in Killers of the Flower Moon is heart-wrenching, deep and gentle. Directed by Martin Scorsese, screenplay by Eric Roth and Scorsese based on David Grann's book of the same name, the movie, by default, due to the major stars involved, is widely discussed, celebrated, and reviewed. Leonardo DiCaprio leads as Ernest Burkhart and Robert De Niro supports as William King Hale. Wow, the trio of acting talent is sensational. DiCaprio and De Niro play these slimy, dirty, double-crossing fraudsters whose eyes glisten with delight at the sight of money, power, and land. Both actors are amazing at giving insight into the true story of the greed and lust for ownership of Osage land and riches at the expense of the native Osage people. It is so unsettling to see the demise of the Kyle sisters and other wealthy Osage people, one by one, over a period of time. The settlement and assimilation of white people in Oklahoma during the 1920s with Osage Nation people led to blended families that promoted the rise of wealth of white people due to the mineral rights of Osage people from oil on their land. The all-consuming greed, entitlement, cruelty leads Ernest and William to involve in the slow eradication through murder of Osage people to take their oil head rights and profit off of them. Ernest himself declares that he loves money. The attraction and love Molly has for Ernest obscures the truth of his intentions, and because of this, she and her family suffers greatly. Nonetheless, she humorously but accurately calls him a coyote in Osage language, proving that she can sense the sly, opportunistic traits of Ernest masked by his charisma. In Native American mythology, the coyote represents gluttony, trickery, and greed. While the coyote itself is neither good nor bad, it signifies a character who may become deceitful in order to achieve their goals. If you haven't yet seen this movie, it is a must-see. Beautifully shot, written, and performed by all of the cast. Lily Gladstone is a revelation. As a leading lady, she wins over the attention of the audience and holds her own amongst the other gifted actors. Her representation of a real-life person brings grace and vulnerability. She is so regal, stoic at times, and unshielded in other times. I think she really embodies that feminine resilience and soul. Subtle and subdued, yet still so magnetic. How I wished things would turn around for the better for Molly and her family. Just like any historical rendition, and one based on true people and true stories, there will be imperfections on the truth-telling. But what I can assure is that this is not a white savior movie. Quite the contrary. This crime historical drama has been nominated for 10 Oscars, and Lily has already won the Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama Golden Globe. I truly hope she wins the Best Actress Oscar. I don't think any other actress can compare. If my prediction is true, then Lily Gladstone will become the first Native American woman to win an Oscar for Best Actress. She's half white, of English descent on her mother's side, and Piegan Blackfeet and Nez Perce on her father's side. She was raised in Montana and Washington and is very involved, educated, and in tune with her indigenous culture. This movie is so misleading. Like, wow, I went to see it with my mom and sister, and I was so uncomfortable. Do not watch this movie with your family or children. Major disclaimer. This movie is kind of repulsive, obnoxious, and unsentimental. Some people actually left the movie theater. Set in an alternate world, whimsical, yet influenced with Victorian aesthetics, we follow the coming of age of Bella Baxter, who, with the talent of Godwin, played with Willem Dafoe, has her unborn child's brain transplanted into her body. Bella grows up from a child trapped in a woman's body, and by the end of the movie catches up to her actual age, I suppose. We are made to believe, practically brainwashed, to believe that Bella is in control of her sexuality. But really, she goes on a rampage of sexual discovery. Because of the male dominance in her life, she is put into this position. Like shame, she really is a poor thing, as the title of the movie suggests. But as an audience, we are made to believe that she is empowered. Mark Ruffalo's character, Duncan Wedderburn, with an unfortunate and imperfect English accent, practically sweeps her away on a sexual adventure throughout Europe. And Bella, so naive and without direction, is led to believe that this is for her own good. Like, why does a woman's journey of self-actualization go so far into the sexual territory? I won't get into the plot and the meaning and morals and takeaways because it will be a very long video. It will take too long. And this video is more about the actress and her performance. But still, this film is just vulgar, just blatant 2.5 hours of Emma Stone stark naked and being put into compromising positions. I expected more from Emma, to be honest. She goes from La La Land, which she won an Oscar for already, to this. I find it quite strange to cast her, even though Yorgos Lanthimos, the director, worked with her previously in The Favourite. But then again, maybe this is the point, that casting someone who is associated with being rather exemplary, sensible, and decent in terms of reputation adds to the juxtaposition of the libertine role. The movie can be cut down in half and get to the final result quicker. More than half of the movie is sex scenes. We get it. Bella loves it. A few scenes will suffice. It's like Yorgos Lanthimos got funded more money than ever before and decided to go full throttle on his ultimate fantasies and fetishes. And because he has become a rather prominent auteur, major stars who I totally admire went on board with this project. Despite my critique, which is clearly opposite what many people feel about this movie, I still appreciate the cinematography, the costume design and world building. The visual is great, very whimsical and dreamy. I get the meaning and the purpose. A woman breaking through the shackles of manipulative men and the patriarchy. I get it. All of the male characters play into a certain type of man, a stereotype of a man. Willem plays like the all-knowing, wise father, God. Mark Ruffalo, a pathetic, womanizing brat who sees women as a commodity. And McCandles, Bella's admirer, played by Rami Youssef, is like an incel, sort of a loser, dark horse type of brainy guy, but still entitled. And then of course Alfie Blessington, played by Christopher Abbott, he's like as toxic, vile as it gets. Total monster, abuser, like send him to jail immediately. They just encompass all of the griminess that is associated with inadequate men and how that impacts women. And Bella is smart and witty, so she does get out of that toxic influence. So I'm proud of her for that. Mark Ruffalo's English accent is atrocious. He should work a bit more on that. I feel like nothing can shock me anymore, like no amount of horror or gore or sex can shock me in film. I've seen so many different movies that I'm at this point desensitized to most shock values in cinema. And because we live in a twisted, perverted, very overtly sexual society, cinema has allowed to make these types of movies to be contenders for Oscars. I did not take away anything from this film. I left feeling just neutral. I went in neutral and I came out neutral. I did not care about the lead character's journey, nor the finale. No lesson is learned, and we just follow a woman's journey to consciousness and realizing that there is more to life than sex. Bella's naivety, her compassion and blunt honesty is refreshing though, so I'm glad that she had a second chance to live life on her own terms. Her curiosity, her spontaneity, and sort of uninhibited nature makes us happy for her. I love the revenge ending. I love the seamless growth of Bella from a child to an adult, which Emma performed very well. And the refined British dry humor adds a touch of unseriousness, which helped to keep my attention. I really liked Yorgos Lanthimos' previous work, The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, even The Favourite. And yes, his work does emphasize on sex, crude ideas, awkward, intimate moments, but it did not go as far as this. Emma Stone has won the Oscar already for La La Land in 2016, and this year she has won for Poor Things the Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy Golden Globe. Furthermore, the movie is nominated for 11 Oscars, including Emma's Best Actress Oscar nom. Anatomy of a Fall is an investigative drama directed and co-written by Justine Triet, a French filmmaker. The movie blends English, French, and a bit of German language. Set in Grenoble, France, the mysterious setup of the death of her husband when he falls to his death from the top floor of their chalet catapults Sandra, a 40-something-year-old writer, into media attention as a potential murderer. An indictment follows as she navigates this journey with her 11-year-old son, who is blind. Sandra Hüller is natural, conversational, and just living her character and not waiting for her cue to act. It's a very European take on acting. Natural and effortless, but in a concerning way due to the subject matter. It's like she is not performing, and that in a way is deceiving in terms of her character. Is she lying through this convincing act, or is she really innocent and just taking it day by day of this investigation? That is the point. The fact that Sandra, who plays herself as the character, is also named Sandra, puts the audience in the same room as her and makes us believe her. When we catch her alone, the shots of her smoking, for example, her tranquility and poise puts us on edge. How can she be so blasé and at peace when the world is investigating her involvement with the sudden deathfall of her husband, as if she feels more free without him, like a weight has been lifted off of her shoulders? This is a story about confronting your reality and relationships, compromise, standing up for yourself in a marriage. I actually really like the character of Sandra. She is dignified, cool, and knows her worth. When everyone in this story confronts her, blames her, including her late husband, she stands her ground. The confrontation scene, the flashback scene between Sandra and her husband, around an hour and a half into the film, is the standout moment in the film. For me, it reminds me of the one in The Triangle of Sadness, where the two lead characters confront one another during dinner on who pays the bill. That theme of imposing one's comforts on the other and the resentment bubbling up towards the other is common in both situations, and there's a clear realization on Sandra's relationship to her late husband. In Sandra's case, she stands her ground and proves that she too has made compromises, made losses to accommodate the comforts and desires of her husband. He is not so innocent after all, and neither is she. He is abusive in many ways, but so is she. Despite Sandra winning her case in the trial and proves her innocence, we are left on a note of disillusionment. The final shot proves that potentially she may not be innocent. We decide. Milo Machado Granero, who plays the son, is very talented too. He and Sandra bring a very interesting dynamic. And the dog, the assistant's dog to the son, that performance is so skillful. Wow, that dog alone deserves an Oscar. This movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and it has also been nominated for 5 Academy Awards. Sandra Hüller is really introspective and tenacious in this performance. She also stars in The Zone of Interest, directed by Jonathan Glazer, which is a fantastic movie on a Nazi family living next door to the Auschwitz concentration camp during the Holocaust. Sandra is so evil, disgusting in this movie. She really is a strong, concentrated actress who has proven her knack to play these sort of twisted, defiant, and scandalous characters with a masculine edge. Whether she wins or not, which I highly doubt, 2023 was a highlight year for Hüller, and I look forward to seeing her further work. Annette Bening is a Hollywood veteran. She has been in the public eyes for decades. She's very successful and has a long list of films and accolades to her name, just not the Oscar yet, even though she has been nominated 5 times. I don't think Nyad is her winning film, just yet, and I hope the Academy won't pull another sort of Jamie Lee Curtis situation, whereby they simply award the Oscar to someone who has been in the industry for a very long time and has paid their dues, and they just award them out of sheer admiration for their career track and not for their specific role and performance in the applicable film. Bening often stars in family dramas and in collective cast films. Nyad is a story about perseverance, resilience, healing from the past, tying loose ends and going after your dreams no matter how old you are. Based on Diana Nyad's life and memoir, Find a Way, Bening takes on the lead role of Diana and goes on a mission to swim from Cuba to Florida, non-stop, without physical help, at the age of 60, 30 years later after attempting unsuccessfully. At this point, she is bitter and anxious to try again, and with the help of her ex-partner and now best friend, Bonnie, played by Jodie Foster, she attempts to revive her passion for swimming and ultimately tries to succeed in her goal that she did not manage to reach 30 years prior. This movie looks and feels kind of artificial and forced. It feels like paint by the number of basic filmmaking. Maybe this movie would have been a hit 20 years ago. But nonetheless, comparatively, this movie is more universal in terms of audience. It's inspiring, it's cinematic and colorful, with an epic soundtrack and visual. Who doesn't love a redemption story? A story of overcoming your fears. Never give up and never think that you're too old for your dreams. Naiad tries multiple times to finish her race and starts over 5 times until succeeding. She swims for over 53 hours to the finish line in Florida, where a huge crowd cheers her on. It proves that you should always try again and again on that thing you sometimes felt like giving up on. You can't fight nature or manipulate it and its power. The ocean is so unpredictable and scary, but people and their mental and physical strength, knowledge, technology and teamwork can make major achievements in open water sports. This movie is a great collaboration of Oscar winners. Jodie Foster, who is a 2-time Oscar winner and is nominated for Best Supporting Actress this year too. It is directed by Elizabeth Chai Vasarhelyi and Jimmy Chin, a documentary duo that directed Free Solo, which won an Oscar. Claudia Miranda is the cinematographer who shot Life of Pi and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, also Oscar winners. And the soundtrack is scored by Alexandre Desplat, who won Oscars for The Grand Budapest Hotel and The Shape of Water. Annette Bening gives it her all in this performance. It's very physical, very emotional, and a celebration of strong and powerful women. The Oscars love a biopic. It's also an LGBTQ story. It is very cinematic too. Carey Mulligan is heavy, brooding, tense as we follow her transition from young woman to her final hours behind the shadow of her prominent husband, Leonard Bernstein. Once again, this is a biopic. Directed by Bradley Cooper, co-written by Cooper and Josh Singer, and produced by a long list which includes Cooper, Martin Scorsese, and Steven Spielberg. So with those names in mind, obviously this movie is winning Oscars for sure. It is nominated for 7. Maestro is a movie celebrating a man's greatness and not a woman's. We see this time and time again, and I believe Carey should win her first Oscar for a role that is centered on the woman and not on the man, which in Maestro's case, the movie is so self-indulgent in the male celebration of greatness that it downplays the role and influence of the woman. Had Carey been nominated for Best Supporting Actress instead of Best Actress, I feel like she would have had a good chance to win. Once again, Cooper puts on the director's hat and takes on the lead role just as he did in A Star is Born. Once again, he plays the troubled musical genius who undermines his female lover's life, just as he did with Lady Gaga's character in 2018's version of A Star is Born. He does the same with Carey Mulligan's Felicia. He wins the woman with his charm and genius, yet ruins her with his character flaws and lack of romance and commitment, which is total disrespect to a partner, especially a woman, who has held it down from the day dot of them meeting. Cooper is so Hollywood, kind of phony, his acting feels staged, and Carey, on the contrary, is so feeling forward and so masterful at internalizing whatever she feels. I definitely felt the dissonance of his grandeur and her subtlety. Mulligan is good in everything she takes on because she gives an authentic character performance. I just don't think this film gives justice to her potential. I like Bradley as the raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy. I just feel like he's better suited as a comedic actor. Think The Hangover or American Hustle. But those came out a long time ago, so props to him for becoming not only a more seasoned actor, but also a filmmaker and a leader. Mulligan starred in a very small role in Saltburn opposite Rosamund Pike, directed by Emerald Fennell, which did not get nominated for any Oscars. I think it's a total snub. But I think Mulligan's collaborations with English filmmakers and Fennell, which is the second time they worked together, is a much more powerful combination for Mulligan. I think she shines when she works with British talent rather than American. I think Mulligan was the best thing about Maestro, even though her role was downplayed and her influence minimized. In conclusion, I think Lily Gladstone should win the Best Actress Oscar. I felt like she gave the most important, powerful and profound performance in such an important movie. And I personally wish Margot Robbie was included in the nominations too, but she was snubbed. Overall, I find all the nominees to be incredibly talented and malleable with certain strengths of their own. I can imagine the hard work Bening put into the swimming and the training, the body language and choreography that Stone had to practice, Hulu's knack for multilingual dialogue, Mulligan's physical transformation, and Gladstone's internalized grief she had to show. So please comment on this video your favorite film and who you think should win the Best Actress Oscar. Stay tuned for the Best Supporting Actress Oscar video too.